Okay, today we are going to learn how to draw birds on a wire. And we are going to draw 6 birds, and we're going to start with the middle bird. Because we want to make sure that we spread them out. There are 6, and so this is going to be the middle. We're going to do 3 on one side and 3 on the other side. So our first bird, we're going to draw the eyeballs, and then I'm going to give it eyelids, put little dots, and then I'm going to do the hair. And the hair doesn't have to be exactly like mine, because we want to make the hair a little bit different on each bird. And then we're going to draw the beak and a nice big fat body. Then I'm going to do my other 2 birds, one right here, and you don't want the eyes too close, otherwise there's not room for the body, so you got to leave some space. Do 2 more eyes, circles touching with dots in the middle, and a beak. And then we're going to do, we want the hair to be a little bit different, so I'm going to have it go to one side, and maybe one little out there. Then I'm going to draw his body. Now he can go all the way to touch or just barely touching. Another fat bird right there. And then at the end I'm going to do a little bird. So his eyes are going to be a little bit lower. And he has big dots in the middle. And a little beak. And his hair is going to go the other way. And then I'm going to draw a round littler body like that. Now I have the 3 birds on one side, and now I'm going to do my 3 birds on the other side. So next to this guy I'm going to do 2 more eyes, and not super close. And I like this guy's hair. It kind of swoops up like this, and then it goes. And then I'm going to do some little swirls in there. And then a beak for that one. And the body always starts at the eyes and goes around and comes pretty close to the one next to it. Now I'm running out of space here, so I'm going to do a skinny bird. So, and he's going to be taller, so his eyes are going to be a little bit higher up, and a long beak. And he's going to have tall, skinny hair and a skinny body. More rectangle, but still curved. And then this guy, he woke up on the wrong side of the bed and forgot to fluff his feathers. So he is going to have big eyes with droopy eyelids. And his hair kind of sticks out in every direction. And so does his, after we do his beak, so does his feathers. So do his feathers. Still kind of want it to be round, but wacky feathers. Now, I'm going to draw my wire that they're standing on next, because we want to make sure that their feet all touch the wire. And the way to do that is we draw the wire, and it has to go from one edge all the way to the other edge, touching, because the wire keeps going. And then you're going to do their legs. I do a little line and a dot, and then it comes down to the wire, and he has 3 little claws or talons attached to the wire. And you're going to do all the legs a little bit different, because they all have their own personality. And then this guy's kind of squatting. And this guy is leaning to the side. And so I just kind of make the legs a little bit different on each different bird. And they're all straight lines with little dots connecting where the knees would be. Okay, once we've drawn our birds, we want to color them in rainbow order. Now I'm going to use watercolor crayons, and these are kind of cool. They're like magic. So I'm going to start with red, then orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. That is the way they show up on the rainbow. And I'm going to do all their beaks orange except for the orange one, and I'm going to do his beak yellow. So I'm just going to color, and you want to make sure that you color as best you can inside the lines, and you want to have the color, you want to push kind of hard, but not so hard that you break the crayon. If you don't have watercolor crayons, you can use regular crayons, or you can use regular watercolors. So there's my red and my orange, and I am going to color all the beaks next because they're all orange, and that way I don't have to lose my orange crayon. Except for on the orange guy, his beak, I'm going to do yellow. Okay, and once I color in the birds, I'm going to show you how magical these watercolor crayons are. They're really cool. So I just want to make sure that I color inside. Now, when we get to the watercolor part, we don't want to use too much water that we get giant puddles on our paper. And I'll show you what to do there. Green is next. Oops. And I don't color the eyeballs. We want the eyes to still be white. You don't want to have color, the same color in their eyeballs. You want their eyeballs to be white. It looks better. There's my green bird. And then my blue bird. And we're not going to color a background either, just because we don't want all the water to run together when we add that to the picture. Okay. And then my purple is the last bird. Okay, notice I'm not using black except for the black marker or brown. We want bright colored birds. Okay, now then you're going to need just a paintbrush and some water for this special paint. We've colored on it with crayon, but because it's watercolor, when you put water on it, it turns into paint. Now, we don't want the brush to be too wet, or you're going to end up with a giant puddle on your paper, and then it will run all together. So what you do is when you dip your paintbrush in the water, you want to make sure you wipe off the extra drips on the edge of the cup so that you don't get a giant puddle. And then you also want to make sure that you rinse between colors. So I'm going to do my orange beak next, and I'm going to paint the orange bird, and then while my brush has still got orange on it, I'm going to paint all of the other orange beaks. That way we don't mix our colors and they get muddy and they turn into brown, which is not what we want. We want them to stay bright. So notice I'm not doing his beak yet. I'm just going to do all of the other orange beaks, and then I'll rinse my brush. And then we'll go from there. Okay, so then I wipe it off, and I'm going to do yellow. And I don't want to have too much puddle. But you do need to have enough water that if it looks like it's not spreading anymore, it's not turning to paint, you need to re-dip into the water, and that I gotta do that.